Thank you for turning to page 121. Today we're going to follow up on a naval adventure number 3, Fire on the Sindalian Main. This is a companion adventure to the Element class cruiser box set that was out back around 2020. And in fact, this adventure is from 2020, written by Christopher Griffin. I'm not going to show the entire adventure. When I go through adventures that are more or less current, I try to avoid spoilers, so I'm only going to go so far as what you would get in the early introduction of the book. But this is a neat little book. If you're playing something down in the area of the Sindalian Main, the Glorious Empire, Pirates of Draenax, anything like that, this adventure would fit in very nicely there. Your mission is to take your ship, do a couple of ancillary missions for the Imperial Navy, and then go to the world of Tik-Tik and lead an interdiction effort. Kind of neat. I like that. A few things I liked and a few things I wasn't so thrilled about in this adventure. We get the introduction with the overview right there, telling us what we're doing. And you're going to fully enjoy this, you will need the box set, or at least the PDF of the box set, because there's lots of rules in here about mission success and resupplying your ship and how to make the characters, that kind of stuff. All very useful if you are going to do an active duty campaign. If you are doing an active duty campaign, which of course this adventure is, it's not that tough to do without the rules that are brought out in the Element class cruiser set. What I used to do back in the dim old days of the 80s and 90s, if I was doing an active duty campaign, I would just not muster the characters out. I would let them roll as they were going, and then when it was time for them to muster out, that would be when they would be on their active duty. To represent some time in the service, though, I would give them basically a 1-for-2 roll on the mustering out table, just by way of stuff they'd accumulated during the time in the service. You always pick up stuff wherever you work or whatever you're doing. And so I would give, if they had served 4 terms, I would give 2 rolls on the mustering out table, just to be some kind of Google or something that they picked up as they went along. But anyway, I diverge a little bit. It is not tough. My point is, it's not tough to make an active duty campaign. You don't absolutely have to have the rules. They're just really, really helpful. So here is where we're going to be adventuring the Outrim Void. We're between the Third Imperium, the Florian League, the Glorious Empire, the Aslan Hierate. Just a lot of cool stuff right in this section. The good thing is, if you're running in that area, you're all set. The bad thing is, none of these 3 adventures builds one off the other, which I was a little surprised about as I started reading them. I thought that would be episodic. 1, 2, 3, 4, all with the same ship and crew. It's not. In fact, in this one, to my disappointment, they don't even tell you what ship you're on. They recommend that you just go ahead and pick one and make it appropriate to what the adventure is. Well, you read through the adventure, and it could be anything from 5,000 tons to 50,000 tons. I personally would probably just put them on an Element class and be done with it. That being said, I have not run this adventure, and I really don't know that I'm going to be anytime soon, simply because I have nothing going in this region of space. All that being said, I really thought it was cool that they were setting up a red zone, an interdiction zone for the native species Tik-Tik, little t, on the planet Tik-Tik, capital T, lowercase t. So that's how you differentiate the two. It has to be context or as spelled out in the book, literally. But it was kind of neat. The Tik-Tik are possibly an immature form of droid, chirper. We don't know. That's kind of why they're being interdicted. And then there's a couple of other powers at play that have a hidden agenda that want to do this or that, which is kind of neat too. And again, I don't want to give up anything on the adventure itself. And we're in Dupree, the Citadel on the Void. So this kind of neat. It gives a good overview of Dupree, which is a planet that had been under another group's thumb until recently. It has been liberated in the recent past and become an Imperial client state and gotten a fleet base. So kind of neat, kind of fun that you're down here basically on the frontier in a brand spanking new fleet base. The characters are almost celebrities because the Imperial Navy ship is here, and it's just kind of neat. I like that. And then we look at this map, which just actually absolutely made me crack up. It's a tourist destination map in Dupree, and basically it should just be labeled places to spend money. And this is the kind of thing I really love about this type of book. You're going to get some stuff you didn't think about. I didn't think about a tourist map, let alone one that so blatantly wants spacers to part with their hard-earned credits. I thought that was just genius, and I really enjoyed it. Got a nice laugh out of reading this. And then we go to the mission itself, and the mission is to, and there's the orders, and you get all this in the early go. So I haven't given up anything spoiler-wise. So you learn all this in the first 11 pages. And then the mission success criteria, and this is what's called out in the Element Class box set, is the mission success criteria. So again, if you just have the PDF of that, that's fine. That's all you really need. You don't need the blueprints for this because you may not even be using an Element Class ship. But the mission criteria might help you a little bit in that regard. So it tells you what each section of the mission is and how you judge success versus some success versus failure. I thought this is kind of neat too. This has been in the earlier 2 of these adventures that I reviewed, so it's here again. So if you're going to do this series of adventures, even just to read, you might want access to that other stuff. If you're going to GM them, be aware, like I said, they don't link one to the other. You're in way different parts of the galaxy in these so far. But that doesn't mean you can't move stuff around and link it or put them on special detached duty way far from where they had been. There are a lot of different ways. If you wanted all 3 of these to take place with the same ship, you could. You'd have a lot of jumps in between locations. But we get how we're preparing for deployment. So this is something, and this can get as nitty gritty as you want it to be, or it can be just kind of hand waved. My players are not the ones that are going to sit there and worry about the ship's stores and do we have everything we need and that kind of stuff. And that's what some of this adventure actually calls you to do. You have to leave for reasons in the story. You have to leave port with only 80% of your standard stock. So you're missing 20%. You have to find a way on the fly to make up for that. Interesting, and I realize it's something that would actually happen. But again, that's not something my players are going to dive into. So I know that I would just be hand-waving that or mostly just setting it up myself. Let them tell me what they're doing, and then I would just do it narratively. It's just how my players are. But you get into your mission itself. It talks about mission creep, how success breeds more missions and bigger expectations from each mission, that kind of thing. So that was kind of neat too. And then that's as far as I'm going to go into the book, because now we're into deployment and we're getting the individual stops. So if you see some stuff in the early go, it's all background stuff you're going to get right away. And reading the mission orders, of course, that's pretty much how the game is going to start as you're GMing it. But once you get a little deeper into that, you do want to kind of make your way on your own. Everybody's campaign is going to be different, and you're going to make different choices. And that's one thing I do love about these adventures, is they give you multiple choices. You're not just locked in to go from A to B, B to C. You have some discretion within your orders as the command crew of this vessel, and that's pretty neat. I like that, and players get agency, but only so much, because of course they are active duty military. You can't just go hot rodding around in this thing. We have need for it. It costs billions of credits. We're going to get this thing earning its keep. So that's really all I'm going to say about the adventure. I don't want to give up any more than I already have. If you're planning on running this adventure, it's really enjoyable. I liked it a great deal. We get some nice high guard information in the back. Very interesting ship I'm not going to talk about, because again, that's part of it's not a spoiler per se, but it's one of the better things that if I were to run this, I would look forward to revealing to my players as we went. So that's really just a quick look at it. I like these adventure missions. They're naval adventure missions. They only did 4, unfortunately. I wish they had done a little more. I realize that Mongoose supports whatever the latest big release is, right now being 5th Frontier War. Yay! I'm a big 5th Frontier War fan. They've got a new book coming out, Fleets of the 5th Frontier War. I'm excited about that. That'll be out in the next few days. I'm excited about getting my hands on the PDF of that. But that's all I've got to say today on page 121. I hope you liked sharing this off. If you did, please like and subscribe. Take a look at the Patreon, see if you can help me out there. Let's keep the channel growing, and I'll see you next time on page 121.